Lauren Sanchez just made a statement that nobody expected to hear. She said she'd have a baby tomorrow with Jeff Bezos. And the internet immediately started asking the same question. Was that just a sweet comment? Or the beginning of something much bigger? Because this isn't just any celebrity couple. This is one of the richest men in the world and a relationship that already sparked headlines, controversy, and nonstop speculation from the very beginning. So when Lauren made that comment less than a year after their ultra-luxury wedding, fans didn't treat it like a casual remark. They treated it like a signal. And once you look back at how their relationship actually started, it becomes clear why this one sentence suddenly has everyone watching them again. The moment Lauren Sanchez said she would have a baby tomorrow with Jeff Bezos, it instantly exploded across social media. The quote came during a New York Times interview where she was asked about expanding their already blended family, and she didn't hesitate for a second. She repeated it again for emphasis. Tomorrow. I would have a baby tomorrow. But almost immediately, a spokesperson had to step in and clarify that she is not currently expecting, turning what sounded like a bold personal declaration into something more open-ended, a reflection of possibility rather than confirmation. Still, the internet didn't slow down. Fans began dissecting every angle of the comment, especially given her age and the fact that she and Bezos already share a combined family of 7 children from previous relationships. Some saw it as a heartfelt expression of love, while others wondered why that topic was being brought up so directly right now. And that's where things get interesting, because this couple is never just talking. Every public statement seems to trigger a wave of speculation, especially when it involves their future together. And the more people revisited that interview, the more they started connecting it to the bigger story of how this relationship has always lived in the spotlight and controversy. The reason this single comment gained so much attention is because Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's relationship has never existed outside of controversy. From the very beginning, their romance wasn't just a private love story. It became a global headline overnight. When news of their relationship first surfaced, it landed right in the middle of Bezos' high-profile divorce from McKenzie, turning the situation into nonstop media chaos. Almost instantly, tabloids and major outlets began digging into the timeline of how everything unfolded, and the internet turned the couple into one of the most talked-about pairings in the world. Then came the reports that intensified the drama even further, including widely discussed claims about private messages being exposed during the early stages of the scandal. While nothing was ever officially proven in a way that changed the outcome, the speculation alone was enough to fuel weeks of global attention and endless debate online. And instead of disappearing from the spotlight, the pressure seemed to do the opposite. The more criticism they faced, the more their relationship stayed in the headlines, evolving from a rumored romance into a very public partnership that refused to fade away. But even after all that attention and backlash, what happened next surprised almost everyone. The next chapter of their story didn't quiet things down, it amplified everything on a global scale. Because when Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez finally tied the knot in 2025, it wasn't just a wedding. It was a full-blown billionaire spectacle that instantly took over the internet. The ceremony reportedly took place in Venice, surrounded by extreme luxury, high-security coordination, and a guest list packed with A-list celebrities and global power players. Every detail, from the location to the visuals, felt designed to be unforgettable, and it immediately sparked conversations far beyond romance. But while fans were watching the glamour, another wave of criticism quickly followed. Locals and online commentators questioned the level of excess, pointing to the massive cost, environmental concerns, and the impact of turning an already fragile tourist city into the backdrop for one of the most expensive weddings in recent memory. And just when it seemed like the conversation couldn't get bigger, it did. Because this wedding wasn't just about 2 people saying, "I do." It became a symbol of wealth, power, and public fascination with billionaire lifestyles, whether people admired it or criticized it. But behind all the headlines and luxury visuals, there was a quieter moment happening that most of the internet completely missed. Behind all the billionaire headlines and wedding spectacle, there was a moment at the center of it all that completely shifted how people viewed Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, and it had nothing to do with money or luxury. It was the children. During their wedding celebrations, all 7 kids from their blended families were given a chance to speak, and what happened next surprised even those closest to them. Instead of flashy speeches or surface-level messages, the moment turned deeply emotional, with each child sharing personal reflections about their families coming together. Lauren later revealed that her own son's speech carried especially powerful meaning. He spoke about his experience with dyslexia and a moment from childhood where he wrote a simple sentence: "I can do this." Something so small became a defining memory for the family, even being celebrated and displayed in their home as a reminder of resilience. And when the speeches continued, the emotion didn't fade. Lauren admitted that her daughter's words were so moving during the ceremony that she broke down in tears right before saying her vows. For a moment, all the cameras, headlines, and billionaire status faded into the background, and what remained was just a blended family trying to come together in real time. But even that emotional moment didn't stop people from wondering what this couple might do next. And that's where her latest comment suddenly brought everything back into focus. What makes Lauren Sanchez's "I would have a baby tomorrow" comment so explosive isn't just the words themselves. It's what they imply about the future of this already high-profile relationship. Because in Hollywood culture, a new child between two major public figures doesn't just mean family expansion, it signals permanence. It signals a deeper commitment, a long-term alignment that goes beyond weddings, headlines, or public appearances. And that's exactly why fans immediately locked onto the idea. Online, the reaction split fast. Some people saw it as a heartfelt, emotional expression of love inside a blended family that already feels complete in its own way. Others, however, began speculating about whether this was a subtle hint that the couple is thinking about taking their family story into a completely new chapter. And the timing only fueled more curiosity. This comment comes after years of intense media attention, a globally discussed wedding, and constant public fascination with how Bezos and Sanchez are building their life together in the spotlight. So even a single sentence about having a child gets magnified into something much bigger than a casual remark. But there's another layer to this, because fans aren't just reacting to what she said. They're also thinking about what it would mean for one of the most powerful couples in the world to actually take that step. And that possibility alone has kept the conversation alive far beyond the interview itself. Every time Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez appear in public, it reinforces a very specific image, not just as a couple, but as a modern billionaire power duo shaping how the world sees extreme wealth, influence, and lifestyle. Since their marriage, they've increasingly been seen at high-profile global events, from elite gatherings to cultural moments where tech, entertainment, and politics quietly overlap. And with each appearance, the perception grows that this isn't just a romance, it's a carefully watched partnership operating on a global stage. Lauren, in particular, has leaned into a highly visible public role, balancing media presence with philanthropy and lifestyle branding, while Bezos continues to expand his influence far beyond Amazon, especially in space-related ventures and long-term global projects. Together, they've become a couple that represents more than personal success. They represent a level of power few people on the planet can relate to. And that's why even small comments from them tend to snowball into massive online discussions. When your life is already viewed through the lens of wealth, influence, and global curiosity, every personal detail suddenly feels symbolic. So when Lauren talks about having a child with Bezos, it doesn't just sound like a family thought. It gets interpreted as part of a larger narrative about legacy, continuation, and what this couple is building for the future. But even with all of that attention, there's still one final reason this specific moment is trending harder than expected. What really pushed this story into viral territory isn't just what Lauren Sanchez said, it's when she said it. This comment dropped at a moment when public fascination with celebrity relationships, billionaire lifestyles, and blended families is already at an all-time high. So even a single quote, especially one involving Jeff Bezos, doesn't stay small for long. It instantly gets pulled into timelines, reaction videos, and online debates. On top of that, the wording itself is what made it spread so fast. Saying "I would have a baby tomorrow" is bold, emotional, and open-ended enough that people can interpret it in completely different ways. Some see it as a loving expression inside a strong marriage, while others read it as a hint at something potentially coming next, even though there's no confirmation of any plans. And that ambiguity is exactly what fuels engagement. The internet doesn't just react to news, it reacts to uncertainty. The more open a statement is, the more theories and discussions it generates. Combine that with the constant curiosity around Bezos and Sanchez as a high-profile couple, and you get the perfect storm. Wealth, fame, romance, and speculation all wrapped into a single headline. So whether this was just an offhand emotional comment or something more meaningful, one thing is clear. It's kept people talking, debating, and watching their next move a lot more closely than before. And that's exactly why this story isn't fading anytime soon. At the end of the day, this entire moment circles back to a single viral quote, Lauren Sanchez saying she'd have a baby tomorrow with Jeff Bezos. On its own, it might sound like a simple expression of love and openness, but in the world they live in, nothing stays simple for long. Because when you step back, you see the full timeline, a relationship that began under intense global scrutiny, a wedding that became a billionaire spectacle, deeply emotional family moments that reshaped the narrative, and now a single sentence that has reignited public fascination all over again. And that's what keeps people watching them. It's not just the wealth or the fame or even the romance, it's the constant sense that every new comment, appearance, or interview could hint at the next big chapter in their story. So the real question isn't whether Lauren meant it literally or emotionally. It's whether moments like this are just passing remarks, or subtle previews of what this power couple might reveal next. Either way, one thing is certain. Whenever Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez speak, the internet doesn't just listen. It reacts.